Hey, sixth graders, welcome to Thursday, December 3rd. So I'm talking to cohort B. So we got I'll be grading my cohort A. We're going to review a little bit of personification just so that we make sure we got that. And we're going to do some more figurative language today. We're doing hyperbole, not hyperbole, hyperbole. And then we're going to give you some practice. So the same formula kind of every day. Keep it simple, okay? Just to remind you, we had personification on Tuesday, and just to kind of take you back there, this is a good example of real creative writing. Is you have to have the vocabulary. So those of you that were playing around with this, I actually loved some of the examples. I didn't get through all of them, but I almost got through everything. But the more that you spend time thinking about what makes something human, the more you can describe other things. Like, what is human about this water bottle? That's personification. I could say that this water bottle nurtures me like a mother as it feeds me the water that I need to go. And I've sort of compared it to a mom. Now, that's not an awesome example, but I might, but I don't know. The thing about like personification is it has to have a purpose. If I want to talk about the color blue, and I might say this is the same color as someone who's blue in the face from not breathing, that's not personification. That's just a simile. All right. So personification is about giving the characteristics. This cup really hates me because I keep spilling myself whenever I take a drink from it. So the cup can't hate me. That's personification. Okay. So we review that you're going to be adding to this today. This is your notes. So we should have 4, and we're adding our 5th one today. Okay. So let's talk about what this is. Okay. Stunned, I walked over to a pool the size of the Pacific Ocean. When the soccer game finished, I could have eaten 17 hamburgers, 35 pounds of fries, and an entire pig. Man, Monopoly is the worst. Like, it's worse than being covered in honey, dropped in a fire ant's nest, and thrown into a pool filled with shards of broken glass. All right, what am I doing here? I'm doing what's called hyperbole. These are words and phrases that exaggerate something to ridiculous levels, an earth-sized exaggeration. And I'm going to add this. The bigger, the better. You never want to short some hyperbole, because if you're just exaggerating, you're really not in hyperbole world. So that's what hyperbole is. It's massive, massive exaggeration. And it's fun, and it's supposed to be fun. Okay? So let's add that to this document. So I might want to freeze the screen right here. Okay, now here's the thing. Let's talk about why hyperbole.
I sent you a 2.0 sheet.
Sorry about that. All right, so hyperbole. Why do we have it and why do we want it? So the bottom line is hyperbole is about drawing attention through emotion. You do not use hyperbole unless you care about something. And when I mean care, I mean you either hate it or you love it. So you don't waste the hyperbole on something that doesn't matter to you, either in the negative or in the positive. All right. So that's important. Now, what else about this? Hyperbole really sticks out. So authors use it because it sort of takes your reader and takes and shoves their face into something, because when they see hyperbole, they know that it matters to someone, whether it's the writer, the reader, the character, or a character later on. Like, hyperbole is there because there's drawing attention to it. And like all other things that we study, it sounds super cool because it's fun and it requires an imagination. So you've got to be like, you got to escape what you've heard before and try to be original when you're using hyperbole. Otherwise, it gets into a different category. So let's take a couple examples here. Okay. So we got ourselves hyperbole, earth-size exaggeration. Bigger equals better. That man is as big as 17 houses stacked on top of each other while balanced on a woolly mammoth. That's pretty big, right? And the more I got crazy, the more it becomes interesting to read. I had more fun than 75 consecutive days spent at Valley Fair and getting paid to do it. Now that's pretty wild, right? 75 consecutive days getting paid? That sounds like fun. What we want to stay away from is stuff like this. I had more fun than a day at Valley Fair. Hyperbole is got to be big enough to be hyperbole. This is really just a pretty easy comparison. You could say I had more fun than Valley Fair. Well, I mean, a lot of things could be more fun than being at Valley Fair. It's got to be like, to be interesting, it's got to be big, big, big. But I also want to sort of talk about this. So, guys, we can also get into what's called a cliche. Cliches are phrases that are so overused, they mean nothing. And it's, if you want to say something is big, and the first phrase that comes to your mind is something like this. Oh, I don't have it here, but like, he's as big as a house. Chances are you probably heard it before. And frankly, he's as big as a house. He's as big as an elephant. I've heard those a million times. Guess what? They're cliches. They're not original. So they do not qualify as hyperbole. They don't even qualify as figurative language. Those become a different category, and cliches are not good. So here's a couple of I've heard. They love you more than life itself. First of all, it doesn't mean anything. And if it's been said so many times, it means Zippo. So you're saying nothing. That book is so good, it's fire. You gotta be careful when you hear these hot, trendy phrases, because they don't actually mean anything, and they're cool sounding, but they're not actually original. If you're using it because you heard from someone else, it's not yours, and it's not original, and it's a cliche. At this point, fire, this is fire, this is fire, it doesn't mean anything. I could eat a horse, heard that 1,000 times. That's the best ice cream in the whole world. It's not even creative, right? I mean, it's exaggeration. Yeah. Is it hyperbole? Technically, but because I've heard it a million times, it doesn't qualify. And here's another one. I hate you more than words can describe. First of all, that isn't even hyperbole, because that's not even true. There's nothing true about that statement, because there's words for everything. If you can't describe, then it's not hyperbole. It's just you stopped looking for the right words. You see what I mean? Like, everything is describable. The language we have, whether it's Spanish, whether it's Somali, whether it's Russian or English, there's words to describe everything. Like they say, and I don't know if this is true, that like the Inuit language, that Eskimos, and Eskimo is the wrong word, but Inuit people, they live in the snowy areas of the Arctic Circle. They have a lot of different words to describe different types of snow, like a heavy snow, light snow, wet snow, dry snow. Like they have different ways to describe things. So cliches, bad. Don't use them. If you feel like you've heard it before, cross it out and do another one. So here's a couple of ways to look at it today. So if I'm going to have you do hyperbole, a level 1 example would be something like this. Mr. Slaby is a single worst teacher within 7-star systems. That's a lot of area. That means I'm pretty bad. Level 2 might take it a little further. Mr. Slaby is a worse teacher than Genghis Khan would be after he's gone 7 days without eating and woke up cranky and with a migraine. So there's like 3 levels there. Genghis Khan is already bad, and if you don't know him, look him up. He's bad. So Genghis Khan, and then on top of that, I add like that he's in a bad mood. So it's like a bad person in a bad mood with a bad headache. That's layers. And then really level 3 is Mr. Slaby is a worse teacher than if you took a moss-covered boulder, placed it in front of a room with kids, had the kids hurl insults at the boulder, and then the boulder rolled over, killing all the students. He's that bad. So I've gone really, 4 lines of description on how bad. I've described a boulder to the point of I've almost given it human qualities. Ooh, personification. That's become bad. Okay. So we should now have added to this term. So now our hyperbole, our right, our sham is now complete in our little acronym. And this is what I want you to do today. Take these phrases, these 7, and turn them into more interesting phrases through hyperbole. You've been doing this for a while, so I'm just going to kind of like remind you that we're going to do one together. That cheese smells awful. What I might do is that cheese smells worse than a drawer full of moldy, sweaty socks. Okay, that's hyperbole. That's bad. That's really bad. But I might go next level, and I'm going to urge you to do that. That cheese smells worse than a drawer full of moldy, sweaty socks previously worn by a construction worker working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and no time to shower even once. Blech. So I've taken it and gone even further up with more description. All right, so that's what your job is for today. To go through this, watch the video, the link to this presentation, just so you know all the notes that I've given you. If you want to go back, it's all here in one massive, long presentation. But your job today is to get through this work and submit. And again, I'll grade you on the same grading scale. All right, everyone. Countdown to the trimester is almost over. You're doing great. Finish strong.